helpers. How are you doing? I hope you had a wonderful weekend and I am so excited. So I was considering this week 1 of our October unit. So I know that's kind of confusing because 2 of the 3 days are still September, but it just kind of worked out right for the number of weeks that we needed. But we are going to be starting a new unit. It is our pumpkin unit. And hopefully you saw my other video about kind of how to get it all started. Now, September was kind of our learning month. I learned a lot. I know you guys learned a lot. It was kind of a way to kind of figure out routines and that sort of thing. So this month I am gonna kind of step it up a little, not like 1 or 2 notches, just to try to bring in as much fun learning as we can. And it is gonna take a little bit more from you guys just to maybe initially have some stuff ready. I know this week, don't feel like you have to scramble and get it all together because it'll be stuff you're gonna kind of use all month long. So kind of take the week to figure it out and see how it goes. But I just wanted to kind of show you some things. So the first thing is to, I want to show you a few of my like sensory tub ideas or math or literacy, different things that way that I do for my own kiddos, just so you would kind of have an idea maybe how you could set it up for you. But I kind of like to set it up and have it for the month, and then it's really easy for me to grab day of if things are crazy or I have to help my older 2 kids that I already have stuff set up and ready for Olivia. So it just makes it really easy for me. But you don't have to do it this way. I just wanted to show you how I did it just so you have an idea. But I love these. So these you can find at like Target or Walmart or Fred Meyer or wherever you grocery shop. And they're actually like a dishwashing tub, but I use it as our like sensory station. And so this is what I used like last month. I just had scissors and paper in here and I would just pull it out and have her like cut like crazy, and the tub's big enough that it would just hold everything that she was playing with. And then this month I was at Grocery Outlet and they had this bag of like really cool green beans and it was 80 cents. The bag was only 80 cents. So this was really fun sensory tub. And then this one was like $1 or $2 for some brown beans, which is awesome because we've had this like crazy expensive beans and rice right now because everybody panicked and bought it all during the pandemic. So I love doing rice and bean tubs, but I was not going to pay $8 for a bag of beans. So I was so excited to find these at Grocery Outlet. So if you have a Grocery Outlet near you, highly recommend running there and grabbing some of these like fun colored beans. And then other place I love to go is the dollar store because they seem to always have some really fun stuff. So these are ice cube trays, I think. I'm not sure, but they make fantastic 10 frames. And we're gonna start talking about this in math. And so they can put like the little beans in here as they're counting. They could put little objects or whatever they want to do. Or sometimes like in October, I like to just kind of throw these in the sensory tub so they start to see it and their brains are seeing it, but they don't really know that I'm gonna use that later. So these are really cool. They had a bunch of different kinds. So I grabbed the little pumpkin one since we were doing our pumpkin unit. And then I always just keep all of our, like these were at the dollar store. I think it was like a 4-pack. These are amazing for fine motor skills. They could scoop up the beans or puff balls or noodles or whatever you have. Like, I mean, seriously, I usually just go to the dollar store and grab a bunch of stuff for our sensory tub. Anything that looks weird. I'm like, here, play with this. And then they usually have a blast. But then any kind of like your like protein containers or I don't even know what, like any kind of like powdered thing, they usually always give you like scoops for it. So I always hold on to the scoops. So that's just something fun. Like I had some vitamin D drops. So I just kept a little dropper. I mean, seriously, whatever little scoopies you have, usually when you buy like Advil or Tylenol or whatever, they'll give you like the little squeegee, and I just hold on to them and throw them in the sensory tub for him to play with. But then I'll probably add these beans in there for Olivia to have like a fun kind of like grow your own pumpkins in the pumpkin patch kind of a tub. And then one of the other things I'm going to show you that I got for the kiddos is some of this air clay. And you can get it off Amazon for like, I think it was like 10 bucks or 12 bucks. And some of them are called like hay clays, kind of the fancier version if you wanted the nice stuff. But I usually just buy whatever's cheapest and gets here the quickest. I think they had like next day delivery. I think it was, yeah, maybe $10 or $12. But this stuff is really fun that you can just throw in a tub or throw in a Ziploc and let them play with. On Amazon, if you like the little water beads, I'll even fill this tub up sometimes with the water beads. You only need like a tablespoon or a teaspoon and then like 6 cups of water, and they puff up overnight, or after about like 4 hours, I think they're full. Or they also have the big jumbo ones. And you don't have to order this stuff, but I just wanted to give you some ideas of some things that you could throw in to kind of have some fun learning. Because a lot of times we'll let them play with it, and then the next day I'm gonna throw in some ABC cards or some shape cards or some number cards or something else in there so they can start to add in a little bit of learning with their play. And this was green kinetic sand that I got from Amazon. We've been using it to do like, I put the little I'm gonna put the little pumpkins in. You've probably seen it in the pumpkin unit, but I put the little pumpkins in there so it looks like they're growing in a patch. And then you can keep an eye out at like Target and the dollar store, like Target's dollar spot section and the dollar store. I love these plastic trays because I'll just set it out and we can put like the kinetic sand on here or the hay clay or whatever it is, the beans, whatever it is we're playing with, and it just makes for such a great sturdy tray to not make a mess everywhere. Or when we watercolor, I put Olivia's paints and water and everything in this tray, and then if it gets spilt or it gets tipped over or it's super soggy, sometimes she uses way too much water, these trays are so nice that you don't have water running all over the place. So I just wanted to kind of share with you really quickly some of my favorite things that are super cheap that you can grab at the grocery store, Target, dollar store, any sort of thing that way. So there's some Century Tub ideas. I'm also going to be sending home some stuff for some books that you guys can start ordering some books, because one of the biggest things I'm going to try to start encouraging over the next couple months is reading at home. I want to try to start offering some kind of like reading incentive, like once you hit 20 books you get, you know, a special thing in the mail from Miss Jody, or once you've read 50 books you get another present in the mail, or like a race to read 100 books, that sort of thing. So I'm still trying to figure out the details to see how I could help parents keep track of that, but I thought that would be kind of a fun way to have them, and it would be them listening to a story, or when we do our little readers, if they read it to somebody, that can count too. But because the goal is usually in preschool, I read about 2 books a day. And I know it's hard for me to always have it. It's just not as the same over the internet like this. So I'm going to try to find a way to try to help you guys and help them to get lots of books in your hands. Yeah, and just get them to you. So anyways, let me get started. Sorry, this is a long one. I'll try to move fast, I promise. Week 1. Most of it's going to be the same, but you will notice that I did add a little bit more things in here. So here we go. But the first thing they're going to start their day off with is just kind of coloring and reading the Icy Pumpkin book. And there are 2 different versions if you read through the packet. So depending on your age, like me teaching to Olivia, her being 3, I'm going to use the one with the dots because it helps her track, because she doesn't still quite understand like tracking words, that like there's, you know, words make up sentences, that sort of thing. So depending on where your child's at in reading, most kids are probably going to need the dots, unless your kiddo is really comfortable. But they're just going to color, maybe read it. Like if they read it once each day, that'd be great. If they read it 5 times each day, by the end of the week, they'll have it memorized. It'll be so easy, and those sight words will just be hitting them right in the brain. It'll be awesome. So each morning, just to start out with, color a little bit in your book, read it once through. You can help them read it. The letter T paper just comes out of that same letter packet. We're just doing the letter T, whether your seedlings or sprouts. And then the Play-Doh mat. So I wanted to show you this really quick. This is when you're gonna need that plastic protector. These are so awesome. Unless you have a laminator at home, you can laminate them if you want to. But these are just so handy because like I just put in all of Olivia's papers for the month that I'm gonna have her, or for the week that I'm gonna have her do. And then that way I can just say, okay, do this, and then we'll flip it over and do the next one. But you can use Play-Doh, you can use Expo markers, you can use little toys. I mean, get noodles, beans, like I could even give her some of this kinetic sand or the water beads or the hay clay, Play-Doh, whatever you got on hand, to have them do the, you know, whatever letter. Like you might want to start with A. I just grabbed Z because she thought Z's were funny. But I really don't care what pattern you want to do it in. That you could do all the letters of their name. That would be really awesome. But these are kind of something we're going to be playing with all month long, just to try to get him to see like, here's another letter, and just try to get it, kind of build up that foundation of those letters. And then also having him practice writing the letter Z and getting the idea of tracing something. And then we also have these cute little ones that you can either cut apart, you could leave as a whole mat and put like letters on a sticky note, and they have to go around the house and try to find the letter M sticky note. You can bury, one of my favorite things to do is to take the water beads or the sand and bury letters, or those little like magnet letters, or you could do little things like, oh, that's the letter C, it says K. So you're gonna bury like a little cat in here and a little dinosaur, and they have to find it and match the letter sound. You could do words wherever they're at. It's just kind of a fun little paper. And I just laminated them so that Olivia could practice tracing, because that's just kind of where she's at, is just learning her fine motor skills. So I thought this would be fun, and I'm gonna stick them in her kinetic sand, and then she can pick one out and trace it with the Expo marker and plant it back in her green soil, and then pick her next letter to practice tracing. But you can really use them however you want. But during that Letter City Centers time, I just thought this would be a fun thing, just something new for them to do. And then their Bingo Dot Square, pretty straightforward. Just get out those bingo dotters. It doesn't matter if you don't have orange. I know some of the girls that gave them pink, tell them they can have a pink pumpkin. It's okay. Or some of the kiddos, I tried to give them their favorite color. It's okay. All we're doing is just practicing, can they see the dot and put a daughter on it. That's kind of what we're going for on this one, is that it's not like crazy polka dots everywhere. Can they start to understand what it means to trace something and to make that shape? So we're going for a square today. And then the same thing, we have the number mats. I just added to our board. I was doing the number 3. You could start with number 1 because that's the number paper we're gonna do the next day, but I just did 3 because Olivia's turning 3, so I wanted her to have that. So she's gonna do the number 3 and write the 3. You could put Play-Doh in it, have her put toys, make seeds out of Play-Doh, however you want to play with this. I figure we do something different each day. Like one day we'll use Expo marker, one day we're going to use Play-Doh, another day we might use the kinetic sand or the clay or whatever we are just to play with the number 3. So it's just kind of a free play with a little bit of learning squeezed in. And then the hidden name pumpkin. This one's so fun. So prep this one beforehand. Write their name in a white crayon. And it is so much fun. Even my Jackson and my Emma wanted me to create one. So I was doing like spelling words and sight words. They had so much fun with this. So you write their name in white crayon and don't tell them, and tell them they're gonna watercolor. And then when they use that watercolor, all of a sudden, magic, their name starts to appear, and it's really cute. So this one's really fun. But that'll be to end our day 1. And then day 2, you're gonna do the Icy Pumpkin book, and then you have the letter T poem, and we'll kind of walk this through together as a class, but they'll do the letter T poem, they'll do the number 1 pumpkin, and then the same thing, we're gonna bingo dot again, just to try to practice, sorry, drop my paper, just to practice that like kind of hand-eye coordination. Can you get the dot in the circle? And then the last day of the week, is T is for tiger. We're just gonna color it orange and give him some stripes. You've got the shape paper. And then our project to end the week will be to make this little mosaic pumpkin. And I have more directions on this in the pumpkin packet, and we'll talk about it in class too. So that's our first week. I hope you can take the week to try to maybe either find some cool stuff at the dollar store or order some stuff or look around your house. Like you got some pasta going bad or whatever you have. Maybe make some colored rice. That's so easy. You just need vinegar and food coloring. Yeah, try to think of some fun ways because, oh, and this is why I didn't even tell you this, but our honeymoon phase is officially over. The kiddos are starting to figure out that their mom is their teacher. So if we did the same thing every day, they'd be like, forget it, okay? They're probably not enjoying the coloring anymore. They're not enjoying the worksheets anymore. They're gonna start shutting down on you because they're not going to see the purpose behind what they're doing. They don't understand that when they're coloring an activity, that they're strengthening those hand muscles that they'll need for writing. Because if they have weak hand muscles, then writing becomes tedious because they can't pinch that pencil for long enough to finish that whole paragraph that they're going to have to write in kindergarten. So in preschool, all these color activities that we do only strengthen those muscles. All the fine motor skills activities that we do, like putting the little pieces of paper on the pumpkin, all of those are just to make our hands a little bit stronger. And then the other thing they're not going to understand is maybe why we're doing certain things. They're going to kind of fight you on it. So that's when we got to pull out the big guns. That's when you need to go and find some cool stuff at the dollar store. Come up with a sensory tub. Put together a tub that has all of your literacy center ideas. Buy some weird colored buckets at the dollar store. You'd be surprised how like an old game or an old toy, like you have a bunch of match cars, like those Matchbox cars, but you dump them in like a red tub from the dollar store and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the coolest thing ever. Or you give them those cars or those Barbies, but you let them play with it in kinetic sand, then all of a sudden it's like, mind blown, right? So time to get creative. If you need help, please reach out to me. I know this will be the month that they're going to kind of balk at us if they haven't started already and just kind of be like, I don't want to do the same thing every day, because to them, they're going to think it's boring and not understand the purpose behind it, that we need them to do these things. So reach out to me, let me know, like if there's something where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so bored, or oh my gosh, this is way too hard, this is not appropriate. Whatever you're feeling, please reach out. I guarantee you will not be the only one. I've already talked to many parents about how we can kind of help individualize this instruction, okay? So have an awesome week. Sorry, this was such a long video, but yeah, have a good one. Bye, you guys.